What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone is having a fantastic night so far. Well, we finally get the exciting news, the first step in the domino effect. Blake James has been fired from the University of Miami. They're going to be parting ways. Huge news. It definitely caught me off guard today. I mean, I didn't really expect any announcement. I know people were saying in 2 weeks things we'll hear more news, but this is the domino effect. I mean, this is huge, Ross. I mean, you texted me. I was in a meeting when you texted me, and I was just like, okay, what's going on? Like Ross just put in all caps, like huge or something of that aspect. And then I saw it, like my eyes just lit up. I mean, I was really ecstatic. Ross, what were your first thoughts?
I mean, I absolutely love that we finally made the move. It was needed. We need to bring some life to this football program. The only thing is, Paul, is that while it's fantastic we made this move, it doesn't mean anything if we make a bad hire in his place. We have to make the right hire at AD. We have to bring in a football mind, a guy who can definitely be a functional AD throughout the rest of our sports, but a guy who understands that football makes the money, and our brand is the U is from football. So we want to get a guy in there who understands that and understands how to make that work at the school he's at. Because, dude, I mean, we've got plenty to work with at Miami. We just got to start using it.
$5 donation from Alex Perez. Thank you so much. Paul Ross, God is real after all. Appreciate it. Alex, Ohio Hurricane, $5 donation. I'm so excited that my Canes are finally moving in the right direction. Hey, I think this is a great stepping stone. At the end of the day, Blake James, time was up. He failed to excel University of Miami athletics baseball program. Things aren't looking good. Basketball, we just lost to UCF. I think we were down by like 15 deep in the second half, second half because they don't play four quarters. In football, we just lost to an awful Florida State football team in Bill Campbell Stadium. No excuses. I'm ecstatic. Now, Ross, you mentioned, this next hire at AD, it has to be the right one. I think publicly, a lot of people, just the fan base, I think Alonzo Highsmith as well, has, I think a lot of people are pulling for Alonzo Highsmith. I think it's well known after the chief of staff interest that he's shown with Blake James and Manny Diaz, that he was denied it. They wanted nothing to do with him. I think it showed people are, they're talking. A lot of people publicly in the fan base, they want Alonzo Highsmith as the next athletic director. Do you want someone who, is a former player, has the appropriate experience? I know he had a very high position in the NFL with the Green Bay Packers. Um, you know, He's been to every college in America, scouting purposes. I don't know if he has any experience in what they're looking for as an athletic director. But would you rather have a guy like Alonzo Highsmith, or would you rather get a athletic director from another college program that has a decent track record or good experience?
I will say that if we're going to go for the guy with a little bit less experience, but maybe a guy with a brighter plan, that Zoe possibly, I have no problem with that if that's the guy that we target for that certain scenario. I really don't want to go after anybody else that doesn't have much experience unless they've got the kind of ties that Zoe has, and not many of those guys do. It's important to me to get the AD job wrapped up and not just do an AD with another guy below him who's focusing on football. I want our AD himself to be focusing on football. So, I mean, as far as a guy who might not be as proven, Zoe's definitely the way to go. But man, I mean, there's some very interesting names out there. There really is some interesting names about AD.
I know Tim Reynolds of the Associated Press mentioned Brian White. He's from the White family. I believe he's brothers with Danny White, who was UCF's former athletic director, now at Tennessee. His name was tossed around as a potential option. He's at FAU. I know a lot of fans want the athletic director of Baylor University
Yeah.
as well. I'm curious because like Big 12 football, like Big 12, Power 5 conferences lay down money compared to Miami when it comes to athletic directors. I'm curious what's Miami's budget on being an athletic director? Now, I will say this to everyone listening. Remember, Mario Cristobal, he does not want to come here if Blake James was the athletic director. Guess what? Blake James is gone. He's no longer our athletic director. I will say this. I think Alonzo Highsmith creates that bridge to generate talk with Mario Cristobal and to convey his interest. I will say that. I don't. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Maybe some people don't want Mario Cristobal, but I will say this: this is his alma mater, and I think he will be interested in a conversation about this head coaching job.
I'm glad you brought up the Baylor guy because it's a guy who I've actually started to look into a little more now that I've seen fans mentioning his name more. Obviously, I was pretty impressed, Paul. I really was. He's got under his tenure there. He's got Matt Rule, Dave Aranda now. But what really stood out to me for Mac Rhodes at Baylor was when he was at Houston. He's the guy who went and got Tom Herman, who was the OC at that time for Ohio State. He went and hired Herman to be his head coach, and it basically turned the Houston football team around and made them a genuine group of 5 competitor.
Now, a lot of people in the comments section saying, hey, maybe what about Zoe for an kind of overseeing the football program only instead of the entire athletic department? Because at the end of the day, if you're athletic director, you have to oversee all the sports: women's tennis, women's soccer, women's basketball, men's baseball, swimming, diving, track. I mean, you got to cover it all, not just football. It's more than that. And you have to be in compliance because if Miami starts getting NCAA investigations, that's the last thing they want. So you need a good track record. You need experience in this role. Would you be okay if Alonzo Highsmith's main focus was football and oversaw that part, and we just had an athletic director that really just oversaw the rest?
It's not my ideal setup, but I think it could be. I think it could work if we do it right. Here's the thing about it, though, is that means that the AD and Zoe, they have to be on the same page, bro. They have to be on the same page about everything. Development, coaching, any of that stuff, literally. Recruiting, I mean, all that stuff, how they want to handle it. Because you can't have 2 guys at the top with 2 different mindsets battling each other. Oh, we want to go this route. We want to go this route. There needs to be a game plan set in place. They would both need to agree to it and then both execute it.
Michael Oppenheim asked any way possible to salvage any of the top recruits. We need to land at least 3 of the top guys. Ross, you're the recruiting guru. Manny, listen, guys, I think he's gone in 2 weeks. We're getting a new athletic director. Blake James made the Manny Diaz hire. He went rogue on the board of trustees. This was his decision to hire Manny Diaz. Now he's gone. I ultimately think Manny Diaz will be fired, in my opinion, after 2 weeks. The athletic director who hired him is now parted ways with the University of Miami. I think it's set in stone.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time for Diaz. The 2022 class, it's still confusion, bro. I mean, a lot of these recruits are still really confused as to what direction we're going to go at Miami. And just yesterday, and I hate saying this, but I mean, I literally had multiple recruits hit me up yesterday, Paul, and say, fire Manny Diaz. And then when it didn't happen, they got a hold of me today and said, what the hell? Why is he still the head coach? That's recruits that we've had on campus.
Well, I think this is a good stepping stone. I think this is the domino effect, like a lot of people have been mentioning in the chat. Blake James, the one who hired Manny Diaz, he's gone. Manny Diaz, I think you're next, buddy. I don't like Manny Diaz. I don't like him. Alex Perez with a $5 donation. I think the Baylor AD is the best option because Baylor has been a consistent threat in football with lesser resources, and they just won in basketball. I'm curious when this position opens up, who's going to be interested in this job. I think people are, you have your Gino Torretas, your Alonzo Highsmith, who I think would be interested in this job. And it seems like a lot of people in the chat are also saying, hey, they would be a great fit here. I think they could generate interest. But from an athletic director standpoint, what universities do you think Miami has the edge on where they'll go out and pick a guy? We keep saying the Baylor athletic director would be great. What ties, what interest does he have to Miami? And I'm just trying to figure this out because why would you now you have to sell me the Miami AD job? Why would the Baylor athletic director go to Miami? Because we want him, or is it because does he want the job? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Baylor pays out good money. It's a private school, to my knowledge. It could be wrong on that. I believe it's a private school. They probably take care of their athletics department.
Yeah, yeah. It would be tough to get him out of there. Any of these well-known teams in the state of Texas, they got money to use, and they're willing to throw that money around, especially when they have a guy they feel can make win big for them,
Yeah.
or help them win big. Dude, I mean the way that things are going at Baylor, I wouldn't mind having a piece of that at Miami. Honestly, if that's the mindset of those guys and that's the way that they operate, it wouldn't bother me to have some of that influencing our football team going forward. It really wouldn't, man.
Baylor's doing an outstanding job. I thought Dave Aranda, that hiring was amazing. It was kind of like a name
Yeah.
like when he got that coaching job, I'm like just lights went off. I was like, oh my, like, why didn't Miami do this? Like,
Seriously.
yeah, like it makes complete sense. This is like Manny's like here and Dave Aranda's through the roof, you know? Um, but no, man, I'm extremely ecstatic. I'm happy, guys. Thank you. We have over 100 people joining us live. Thank you to all the donations. Greatly appreciate it. Um, man, Greg Bush says this is the best news I have ever heard. I have hated Blake James since day one of his career here. Finally, we have a chance to get this right. No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is tremendous. You hire the AD of the University of Maine to run a athletics department that has a great history, a rich history in specific sports and baseball and football, and it's just really just hit the floor. It's been awful. There are some pros that were pushed under Blake James, believe it or not. The IPF, Mark Richt, did push for it. Blake James as well, I guess, assist on the way. I don't think the hiring of Mark Richt was that bad at the moment. I thought it was a decent hire with his resume. Thought it was a decent move. Obviously, like a vision wise, you may want to go with a younger guy. I understand Mario Cristobal had applied for this job during that time when they got rid of Al Golden, but those two don't get along. That bridge was burned. Now we have to rebuild a bridge. Um, Ross, do you think Mario Cristobal will be in play now? Because I think Manny Diaz is going to be gone. I'll be in shock if he stays.
If the right AD is hired, yes. If the right AD is hired, we will have a genuine shot at Mario Cristobal, because I've made all my judgments based off of the fact that I wasn't sold Blake James was going to be fired. So I was making my assumptions and doing my predictions about coaching, thinking that Blake James was going to unfortunately be the one in charge of it. But thankfully, he's not. Thankfully, he's not. If we make the right AD hire, they will make the right coaching hire. Good ADs know how to win. They know what it takes. We got to get a piece of that, bro. We got to get a piece of it.
Yeah.
There are some other interesting names out there, AD names. Yeah, I don't know have you done some research?
I have not. Like, honestly, Danny White was the guy because he was in Florida. He was at FAU. He was at UCF. I was like, that was someone like when like the last couple years, I was saying Danny White would be great, and then Tennessee grabs him. I know his brother now is at FAU. Tim Reynolds said he was a name to look out for. That's been passed around as a future AD at Miami or a candidate. Anyone else you can think of, Ross?
Well, I mean, there's some random names out there that might not be the ones that everyone wants to think about because they're not necessarily tied to Florida or tied to Miami. But I'm talking about guys who have done a very good job at where they're at. And I have a feeling that we're not just going to be so picky and say, well, you have to be a person in Miami. You have to have this connection. My hope is that we just go and get the best guy no matter what. But I'll tell you what, dude, there's a guy up in the northern regions here, not in where I'm at, but the northern parts of the United States, at BYU named Tom Holmoe. What he's done there, dude, has flat out impressed the living hell out of me, dude. It is not easy to operate and win at BYU. He is under more rules and more crap than anybody else is, bro. Seriously, like it is a very hard place to get talent to and to win at. He was responsible for hiring Bronco Mendenhall. Then he hired Kalani Sitake. And in basketball, he got Dave Rose. The guy after Dave Rose wasn't great, but then they fired him and got Mark Pope. Pope turned it around, and they're already winning again. So, I mean, that's not bad, dude. There's also Todd Stewart, AD at Western Kentucky. He got Bobby Petrino and Jeff Brom. Then he got Tyson Helton hired, who went 9-4 in his debut this last year. Plus in basketball, Rick Stansbury. Not bad. Those are just two names right there, dude, that I think even though they're not tied to Miami, I think they're guys who could be possible candidates. And you know what, dude? The guy from Wake Forest, I could see us being somewhat interested in him, but I don't think that we'd pull the trigger.
So like I saw like salary wise in like 2018, I think he's close to $1 million. The guy at Wake Forest.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's his salary. I was looking it over because Duke's AD makes close to like 1.4 million. Believe it or not, I don't know why they pay him that much because like Coach K kind of runs everything basketball and that's it. Like I don't like like he
Yeah.
didn't hire Coach K.
Right.
The Woods $10 donation, greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for taking time to watch us tonight and donate. Once the AD vacancy is fulfilled, we need to make the overdue head coach hire. Lane Kiffin, his cutthroat play calling is perfect for a dripped out you. Tired of these grinded out wins post Manny era. Look, I think Lane Kiffin would have been a great hire, but I honestly think the train has settled. It's taken off. He's at Ole Miss. This isn't his alma mater. Ole Miss, I think, is going to pay good money to keep him. His salary increase every year goes up a legitimate amount. Their athletic director said that he has a amount of healthy amount of buyout. There was an article that stated if a program wants to match it. Look, if Lane Kiffin wants the job at Miami, heck, go for it. I just think he's not going to be interested. I think he's going to stay put at Ole Miss. He's learned from changing positions after positions throughout his career. That's just my opinion. Let's see if I'm wrong. Ross, you wanted to do a quick shout out of a very special Canes fan who's and a Canes family as well, is going through a tough time right now, and I think deserves some time for us to speak about it.
Absolutely. We got a fan in our Canes fan base here, guys. Goes by Bang Bang Canes on Twitter. His son, unfortunately, is in the hospital, and it was a freak accident. An absolute freak accident. His name is Taj, Tajjj, and what they're doing is a hashtag for him, Taj Strong. So TAJJSTRONG. That's kind of what they're pushing it on. They have a GoFundMe set up for it. There's going to be some medical needs that his son is going to have. This is a young kid here, guys. So he's definitely going to need a little help with this kind of stuff. So if any Canes fans can donate or help with that stuff, if you can't find their information, get a hold of me on Twitter. I'll definitely get it. I'll get it linked up for you guys. I'm at North Fresh Cane on Twitter. This is a good family, and their hearts are broken. And the story that his dad told me, it's stuck with me, Paul, and it's stuck with me in my heart to this day. And I truly hope nothing but the best for Taj.
Yeah, I mean, please pray for Taj, guys, if you have a moment, anytime this evening or tomorrow. Pray for Taj's family. They're going through a lot. He's a young kid. He's a baby,
Yes.
toddler. And, I don't wish on anyone. And I just pray for Taj, and anything you can do to assist them. If you're on social media, just give a shout out to them, give a quick prayer. That would be outstanding. So we're definitely with Taj and his family, and wish them the best moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is one where we can all come together, Canes fans, and try to make something positive out of it. There's still a chance that if they can get the right medical procedures going forward for him, that he could do pretty well for himself in life still. And that's the whole goal. You just want to give a kid the absolute best chance possible. Like I said, his parents are unbelievably good people with good hearts. They deserve some help in this aspect. I truly believe it.
100%. Pray for Taj and his family. Once again, man, just truly tragic what's going on, and let's pray and hope for the best. No doubt about it.
Yep. Taj Strong, guys.
All right. Appreciate everyone's kind words supporting Taj Strong. All right, Ross. I want to touch about this. We're all excited about Blake James leaving. Let's do a formula here. Let's say Alonzo Highsmith is the next athletic director at Miami. Let's just say Alonzo Highsmith, or maybe a former Cane, Rob Shasinski, Gino Torretta, just someone of that aspect out of those three. What do you think is the roadmap to get Mario Cristobal or a certain head coach? Do you think who do you think are coaches that you would go after? The bridge is now back with Mario Cristobal. This is his alma mater. There will be a conversation about this. I completely agree. I believe it. It's just my opinion. What do you think is the roadmap? What coaches are in play now with an AD like Alonzo Highsmith, Gino Torretta, Rob Jasinski?
I'll go just based off of hypothetical here. Let's say Zoe is our guy, right?
Mhm.
That I mean, immediately opens up that Mario Cristobal door. And there's really, I don't think there's any other AD out there that would even open that door any more than he could for the University of Miami. I think he actually is the ideal candidate to make that happen.
Okay.
But I'm pretty fond of another coach out there too, and my hope would be with Zoe being such a well-respected football mind and having worked in so many different fields that guys would be interested in wanting to coach underneath him, and that's where I go back to a guy like Bill O'Brien. If Bill O'Brien is on that same page and wants to do what Zoe is doing at Miami and change things, heck, man, that might not be a bad way to go either.
Yeah. No, I think Bill O'Brien has the appropriate resume. Former NFL head coach, former college football head coach as well at Penn State. I mean, he has the appropriate resume. I think you should give him a call. I don't think he has like a crazy buyout compared to Mario Cristobal, where like you do have to dig out a lot of cash.
Yeah.
You mentioned Kalani Sataki. I mean, that would be an interesting switch. I think I've liked what he's done so far at BYU. I think he's a football coach. He's someone players would get around, and I think he'll be open to this head coaching job. I'm just going to give realistic names, guys. I'm not going to say Luke Fickell because Luke Fickell is probably going to go to the University of Southern California, or he has no interest in the University of Miami football job. Why would Luke Fickell be interested in a job when he's sitting top 5 in the nation when we're literally 5-5 and we just lost to a 3-6 football team? That's going backwards. Just being real. I don't think
What do you think
Luke
about
Fickell wants the University of Miami job.
What do you think about Stoops?
Mark Stoops?
Yeah.
I think it would be an appropriate hire. I think he's done a great job. He's the only head winning coach in Kentucky football history. I will say though, he has a good defense. Okay, I might kind of. I don't think like people are going to expect a lot of wins right away. I think you got to be patient with Mark Stoops. I think he's going to need to get his personnel in, get the appropriate recruits that he's recruited, and go. It may take 3 or 4 years. It's not going to be like an overnight instant impact hit. I think you got to be really patient with Mark Stoops, and then it will pay off over time. But I think it will be a good hire. I like Billy Napier from Louisiana. I think that would be a good hire as well. By the way, they beat App State by 28. So just want to throw that out there. Brandon Merriweather said Ken Dorsey. I don't know if people are open to that. Mel Tucker, Michigan State's going to pay them everything that he wants. He's not going to be Miami at all. I would love that. Deion Sanders actually inquired about the TCU job. I don't know if they'll hire him. I don't think Miami will hire him either. Beside one of the greatest players of all time, respected position, take the coaching experience. I think it's just 1 year at Jackson State.
Yeah, that's it.
1 year at Jackson. I'm breaking it down as a coaching experience.
Yeah.
That's it. 1 year at Jackson State. I don't think that pans out to the Miami job. Dave Aranda at Baylor. I think that would be great to call. I don't know if he'll be interested. I don't know what his salary is at Baylor. I don't know if they're willing to just completely give him a fat extension after. I think they will. I don't know if Dave Aranda would be completely interested in the Miami job. So I don't know, but I think I would give him a call just to see what happens.
My thing is, and I hope as time goes on here, we start to try to find out more and more just about how far Miami really willing is to dig in their pockets to make the right hire for AD. If we start hearing about just small names and random names from random places, it's going to tell me that, we're not going to spend the money that it takes to make it happen. But if we do, and we actually get the right athletic director at the University of Miami, it could change everything, Paul. It could literally change everything. And we're not talking about just a new head coach coming in and starting at the football program. We're talking about in the offices of the University of Miami, in the university. It will start at the top. That's where we need the change, bro. We need it to start at the absolute top and filter its way down.
That's interesting. Michael Oppenheim says, how about Pat Chun, Washington State athletic director? He actually was the AD at FAU. I believe that was true. What do you think about a guy like him? I know you're a Pacific Northwest guy, so.
I'll tell you what, he's got one of the toughest jobs in America. Recruiting at Wazoo is a freaking nightmare. That school barely even registers financially compared to the rest of the Pac-12. They've got far less money, far
Okay.
weaker facilities, and they happen to be out in the literal middle of nowhere. Pullman, Washington is surrounded by nothing but massive ranches and farms and wasteland, basically. If you want to bring in a guy who knows how to take nothing and turn it into something, he's a candidate for that kind of job. He can do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest, guys. I'm going to be very curious. Outside of the University of Miami alumni base, who is going to be interested as an AD for this job at Miami? What are they in the G5 ranks? Or are they in the P5 ranks? I think that's an outstanding question to look into because I'm curious how much does the athletic director position at Miami hold weight. Maybe they'll have to take like an associate AD at a big time university that's learned from an AD at an Ohio State, at a Clemson, at a big time program. I'm curious who wants this job. I'll be honest.
Are you willing to take a shot on an FCS AD and one of the ones who's proven to be successful year in, year out?
I mean, like a North Dakota State AD?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, North Dakota State wins football games. They produce a lot of NFL players, more than Maine will ever do, right?
Right? Yeah,
I don't
seriously.
really know. I mean, it would be more ideal to get like a G5 coach, like an FAU coach. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think there's a ton of fantastic candidates that are realistic for us. There's definitely ideal ones, and there's guys that we can get and good guys we can get to change things. But we're going to find out as time goes on that some of these names we're talking about simply don't want the Miami job. They don't want to be going through this process. They know how brutal it is.
The Georgia AD would not be interested in the Miami job.
Oh, God, no. No, God, no. No, God, we are not getting an AD from a competitive SEC school. It's not happening. They will outbid us easily.
Watch we get like Alabama's AD or like.
I know. Then I have to just swallow crow on that one. Yeah. No, it's not easy, guys. I mean, there's not a lot of great coaches that I see realistically, and there's not a lot of great ADs that I see realistically. I have a handful for each one, and I'll tell you what, if for some reason we don't get to choose from these guys in the handful that I've got, I'm going to start to get a little worried, Paul. I really am, because the caliber drops off really fast after this handful of guys, as far as I'm concerned. This is my opinion, but the caliber drops off really far after these guys that I have up top. So I hope we have our eyes set high. I hope we do. I hope we shoot for the moon, and if we miss, we land on the stars.
So if the chat can help me out on this, please, because I'm trying to think of this. Kirby Holcutt, what athletic director position was he at before he took the Miami job? And Paul D as well. If you guys can help me with those two questions about those ADs, I would greatly appreciate it. Because I know Blake James came from Maine in his experience, but where was Kirby Holcutt? Where was he at before? And Paul D, I can't think of it top of my head. If you guys could help me out with that, greatly appreciate it. Was it McDonald's? So yeah, if you guys can help me with that, because I'm really curious what athletic directors would take this job. Sincerely, I don't know what's the interest level. I really don't. I'm very curious how good of an interest level it is in the P5 ranks or the G5 ranks. I know G5 obviously, but in the P5 level more, I'm curious. So Ross, we're 30 minutes in. We have over 150 people joining us live. Greatly appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you can. Greatly appreciate it. You got top three choices. You got your first priority to call, your plan B, and then your fallback for the University of Miami head coaching job. Who you got?
Priority's Cristobal. Fallback is Bill O'Brien. And my shot in the dark long shot is Tosh Lupoy.
Tosh Lupoy. That's, yeah. You got to, like, I'll be honest. Does Tosh Lupoy know that the Miami job is going to open up?
I have no idea, but damn it, I'll tell you what, dude. One of the most incredible recruiters I've ever witnessed in my entire life. I mean, he's unbelievable recruiting in college. Absolutely unbelievable. He would be a top 5 guy in recruiting just walking into our building. I guarantee it.
I can name probably 10 out of the 15 ranked teams of the coaches who wouldn't want to come to Miami, head coach wise.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people wouldn't want to.
It
The
comes down to the
university. So,
AD. It comes down to the AD, Paul. I mean,
I think
it's
it's just it's a project. It's a big project at hand. Like this is a big project. At the football program, obviously carries the most weight, no doubt about it. You have to win. We have been funneling coaches left and right, in and out. We have literally an empty stadium that we don't sell out unless it was like a big game against Florida State or Notre Dame. This is a big project. There's a lot at risk. I don't think another Power Five school, it's going to be an easy transition. Like, I don't think it's that much interest in the Power Five ranks. I'm curious if I'm wrong, if I'm right, who will be interested in the 80 ranks in college football. I will say this: if you're an alma mater, if you're connected to the program, you're going to have interest right away. This is where you went to school. This is where you bleed orange and green. Think of Bridges back from Mario Cristobal. I think if Bill O'Brien wants to be head coach again, I think Miami should call. I think Mark Stoops would be great. Maybe we're a little bit late and Kentucky seals him a nice extension. I think Billy Napier is an appropriate hire. Good call.
I got a question for you about the AD thing here, Paul. What kind of an AD would be willing to come in and knowingly have to take his hands off of the football team? Because we talked about having a football specialist take that role, and that's where it makes me hesitant that an elite AD or a high end DE or AD would they even be interested in coming to Miami if they couldn't have their hands on the football team?
The Mikester Kane says Kirby Holcutt was associate AD at Oklahoma from 1999 to 2005. You see, that's where I think we can get one. That's where on the associate AD level, right beneath the athletic director, because that's where I think you can get someone from the Power Five ranks as an associate AD. That's where you can get the flip.
Yeah.
That's where I think we're in the business. Like you can market a lot more with associate ADs.
I guess my point I was bringing up is I'm just not sold that an all-world AD is going to want to come in and have a guy like Zoe taking care of the football stuff. My feeling would be is that we would have maybe a guy like Zoe take the football stuff, and we get an AD who might not be the flashiest name, but an AD who actually agrees with Zoe and wants to make the same kind of changes and same kind of plans for the football team. We have to have that. We can't have the AD and Zoe or whoever the football guy is on two different pages. It won't work.
I do agree with Sam Saberi. I hope I pronounce it right. I think it's an outstanding location. You have the infrastructure, recruiting. You can get the right idea and throw a lot of money at the coach. I agree. It's a good, attractive place. I just think there's a big project at hand with taking over, overseeing this football program specifically. And I think a lot of people outside of the football in the world, because everybody talks in the football world, obviously coaches and stuff. I just think a lot of people understand this is a really big project, and maybe not everybody wants to go through that stress level. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, Miami isn't known to pay out coaches stupid money. You know what I mean? They're not known to pay out ADs a lot of money. Football coaches a lot of money. It's always been a fairly lower budget school. We do have the money to do it. We just don't want to. Let's see now if we do.
Do you think that if we had won the game yesterday against or the game against FSU, do you think that would have saved Blake James another week, or do you think that this was just inevitable and it was going to be his last week at the University of Miami?
I thought the whole mask thing of putting the U down, I honestly was like, come on. I know that was a shot. I thought it was weird. I did think it was weird. He was denying local credentials to local reporters and the media. I thought that was weird. He was always in Maine on the weekends. That was like, why are you always in Maine when you're getting interviews? Why aren't you in Coral Gables? I knew it was this, man. It was simple. Like if Manny goes down, Blake's got to go down. You know, I thought they would name everything like towards the end of the season. You know, like when we're done with football, not 2 weeks in, 2 weeks out. So
that's where I was at too. Yeah, I was expecting them to wait, and it's why. And my point on this has been, now I see why they didn't fire Diaz, because they're not going to fire the AD and the head coach at the same weekend. That's just not how we operate at Miami. We don't do that.
So who's left to coach the program?
Running back coach Hickson takes over.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, probably might have done a better job than Manny Diaz.
I mean, there's some guys that are on our roster that if we were to fire Manny before the season's over, I wouldn't mind giving a couple guys interim head coach shots just to see what the hell they do, see what their mindset is, see if they can offer anything different or productive. That maybe, while it might not be them that we carry over and hire into the future, maybe they can show us something that does work for Miami, and we can go get an even better coach that can run the same kind of stuff. That'd be nice.
Exciting times down at the University of Miami. I just hope we get it right this time because like we can't keep getting it wrong. If not, it's just going to be the norm. We're going to be like Indiana and Georgetown basketball. We're like we had our great years and then it just never was.
If we miss this one, Paul, we need to come into the realization that
It'll never happen.
Eight and 9 win seasons are something that we should celebrate.
Maybe. I mean, shit, we don't even go 7-5.
I'm just saying, I mean, a 9-win season. If this is the way the Miami Hurricanes front offices are going to be, and they prove that they don't care about winning, then we can't expect them to win. It's just that plain. If we get 9, 10, heck, if we got double-digit wins, we can act like we won the damn title. We can make ourselves a banner like UCF did for their fake title. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like we're that low right now.
Here's the thing, like, with like people, like some people don't want Mario, some people don't want Lane, some people don't want Bill O'Brien. Like, that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But like, I just think there's like someone mentioned Byron Leftwich. I'm sure he can do a better job than Manny Diaz. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think there's a lot more people out there that can do 100 times better job. I think Deion Sanders would do a better job than Manny Diaz. I don't think people realize how bad Manny Diaz literally put this program. I honestly don't think people understand how low of a program we're at right now. This is like Al Golden. It's pick your poison. That's why, like, any name, I'm like open to it. I think screw it. If you want to hire Deion Sanders, I'll be open to it. I know early in the show I said he had 1 year at Jackson State. I don't care because I know he'll probably do a better job than Manny Diaz to the point we're at. Like, literally, all of Manny Diaz's wins against Power 5 teams have literally been like less than a touchdown. Besides Duke. Like, besides Duke, we beat him by 45 last year. Like, they're all literally shootouts. Literally. He's been here since 2016. Like, this has literally been his defense the past, like, 5 seasons.
I'll tell you what, Paul. It's if we don't get a guy in who's necessarily the type of guy with experience that we all want at Miami, there's a word that I'll use and I've been starting to use it more often just because I truly believe it's what's needed. Find me an innovative coach. Innovative.
Yeah.
Innovation. Find me that. Bring us to the new era of football. Don't leave us in 1997 picking up the scraps trying to run old sets and old shit, dude. Yeah. Bring in somebody innovative with a new mindset that understands this era of football.
You know, I kind of want a head coach that, like, they'll play, like, a big opponent, a big game, and, like, they're underdogs, but, like, 2 touchdowns, and they'll just win. Like, shock everyone and win. Like, when was the last time Miami was, like, not favored to win a football game? But, like, 14 points. It was a road game, and they just came in and won. Shocked everyone over a ranked opponent. You know, like, I want a head coach that will make things fun. Like, the fan base will just die for. Like, Manny Diaz, like, you had to drag me to these games. Like, making these shows was just depressing. Like, I had no energy. I can't envision Manny having success here. I think he showed up to the Florida State game in a limo. Like, dude, like, what is, like, you're a 500 football team and you show up to Doak Campbell Stadium in a limo and imagine just being like 7-3. What he would do, go in a fighter jet, a helicopter. He shows up in a limo to a game against Florida State and loses.
Remember,
playing 500 football.
With him, it's all about optics. That's the politician in him. It's all about what's on the surface, dude. If he can make it appear that he's still the boss and he's still the big guy, he'll hope he convince fans that he's still the boss and the big guy. But, dude, yes, I agree. That's an absolute joke that he showed up in a limo after how he has been our head coach. I mean, it's an absolute joke, dude.
You know what? Mr. Wright he's actually right. Mr. Wright is right. We beat Pittsburgh. We were underdogs by, I think, 11 or 8 points, roughly. He was right.
That's true. Yeah.
He was right. He was right.
I don't know why I was thinking out of conference teams. I don't know why.
I think I think when we think ACC ranked teams, it's like they're never up to par with the SEC, with the Big Ten per se.
Yeah.
We're considerably. I mean, we're one of the weaker conferences in college football, but it is what it is.
The optics thing for Manny Diaz with the limo, it reminds me a whole lot of the optics with the turnover chain. Just flash, pizzazz, no substance behind it. Just look at me, look at me, look at me, but really nothing to hold it up. No, like I said, nothing substantial behind it. It's all optics and it's all for show, and it's not going to benefit the football team.
Well, Boricua Hunter, let's start paying well.
If you want good coaches, you better start paying the money it takes to get good. Or unless you've got such a good AD that can find hidden talent and find guys who are coming up and not have to blow the bank on them, then that's great. But dude, good luck finding an AD like that. Good freaking luck.
That's because you guys want a $1 million to $2 million AD, and you want a $6 million head coach. That has never been shown at Miami. Let's see it.
And then a buyout on top of it.
Let's see it. I've never seen that at Miami. $1 million to $2 million, paying a coach $6 million. That's what you guys are asking for.
Yeah,
that's what you're asking for. Luke Fickell won't come to Miami. I'm just letting you guys know. I haven't seen Luke Fickell yet. Cristobal?
What's his buyout?
Shit, man.
It's like $9 million or something.
I don't know, man. It's up there. I'll say minimum 6, max 8 or 9.
See, the thing is that if we decide we want him to be our head coach, the problem is if USC decides they want it too, that will end up being a bidding war between Oregon and USC because we can't compete with those two schools financially, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, 180 in the chat, 42 minutes in. Why won't Fickell come? Because he's ranked number 5 in the nation, and Miami is a sub-500 football program that can't fill out anything. He's in a better position moving forward. He can get the Notre Dame, Ohio State job, University of Southern California job if he wants. Why the hell would he come to Miami?
It's going to take a certain kind of guy to come to Miami.
Backwards. You're not going forward. Ohio State, Notre Dame, USC are forward positions that will pay stupid amounts. If they open up, USC is open. Let's use the take. Miami is backwards. Cincinnati is ahead. It's the reality of the situation. I don't even think he. Yeah. Yeah, well, that was awful. We should have never paid that. The guy who paid Manny Diaz $4 million is fired. That's what happens when you pay guys from Temple $4 million. You get fired. He's gone. The guy is gone.
Good call. Good call, man.
Hey, look, if Fickell wants to come here, great. Prove me wrong. I just would be in shock. And I hope he would love to come here. I just would be in shock.
Yeah. I'm on the same boat as you there. I think I'd be in shock too. Absolutely.
I would be in shock. I would be shocked if USC didn't even offer him.
Whoever we go get, Paul, whoever is our next coach at the University of Miami, they have to have thick skin. It's just the way it is. They can't be the buddy guy, and when relationships with players go sour, it breaks their heart and they feel less than or something. They don't need to be their Facebook buddies and all that shit. We need a head coach that coaches football and brings, even if it's a militant approach back to it, whatever it takes to get the basics going again, Paul. I just want to be competitive and get the basics going again, because until then, you can't go to higher heights.
And I agree with Crayon Rider. We got to swing for the fences. Does not hurt to ask. I completely agree with you guys. I agree. You got to swing for the fences. I agree. But you're going to have to pay up the money if you want to swing for the fences. You really got it. Like Texas A&M, they wanted Jimbo. They got him. They laid that thing out for him. They got him.
We're talking about, let's just say a guy like Cristobal is $8-9 million to buy out or something. We're talking about then tossing out maybe about $13 to $14 million just up front for this staff, and not having it be anything like on paper that proves that it works or anything yet. It would just be putting together that staff, a lot of it buyout based, whilst shoving as much money as we could into the process to get the best assistance we could. Because here's the thing about Cristobal. He knows that he's going to have a big buyout, but he's not going to ditch Oregon if Miami doesn't make a financial commitment for him to bring in his own guys. So it's not going to be cheap if we want to win.
Norman Fujioka, greatly appreciate the $10 donation. Mario's buyout with Oregon could be whatever Phil Knight decides, which is true. I mean, he's going to pay up if he wants Mario. I mean, if he wants to keep paying. Hope we don't let Knight pulled strings. That's true. I mean, the only thing we have an advantage to our favor is that Mario is born and raised in Miami. His family still lives here, and this is his alma mater. That's the advantage we have. It's going to be an emotional decision. Money can only give you so. I mean, it's to a point where, like, I don't know what his net worth is, but like, if I had $50 million in net worth, I don't know. I don't know how I would view another $1 million. I don't. I could be completely wrong. I don't have 50 million. Unless I hit the lottery tomorrow, I doubt I will get 50 million net worth.
I do even though it's something we haven't brought up yet. I actually have a defensive coordinator in mind that I'd like to, because with the Manny Diaz stuff, my mind's on defense pretty heavily, And I'll tell you what, man, Jimmy Lake getting fired from Washington, I'd have no problem having Jimmy Lake as our defensive coordinator. Absolutely no problem. His secondaries are elite. He recruits elite. And he puts guys in the NFL.
No, I agree. The thing here's my thing with people throwing out names as well. Like, I think Jimmy Lake would be great, but RAD Sam Jankovic. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone in the chat? He was the former AD at Washington State, I believe, right?
I believe so.
And that's what brought in Dennis Erickson. It was that connection.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, there has to be some ties, like Washington D.C., Miami D.C. Let's go, like. There has to be like some connection where like I've coached with that guy before.
Yeah.
I know, you know what I mean? Or like we crossed paths, like some connection where like a coach wants to go to a program. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some.
They got to be able to trust him. They got to be able to trust these guys.
It's like, oh yeah, I'll go here. I don't know any of these guys. It's just Miami. I'll go here. Like, you know what I mean? Like something's got to give. Maybe like if they're paying him a lot of money, okay, maybe that's a different story. But like something's got to give for someone to make that jump from the West Coast all the way down to Miami. Like the state of Washington to Coral Gables, Florida. Like that's like literally night and day the time exchange.
Dude, the buyout for it, the hiring of the staff that goes around it. I mean, bro, this isn't little peanuts we're talking about. We're talking about serious money, millions and millions of dollars that it will take just to start over. I mean, this is what it is. That will take just to start us over. This is because that's what goes on when you get a new coaching staff. You start over. If this doesn't work and we spend all that money, it's going to suck, dude. It's going to look bad and it's going to hurt. So we really got to get it right if we spend that money. If we go cheap and we decide not to go after those guys, well, hey, you know what? We'll be an 8-9 win team and we'll complain about the same stuff we do every year. But if we're going to go big, we better go big as hell, bro. Just blank check it if you need to. Like, get the freaking guy in.
Alex Perez with a $5 donation. The most Miami move ever would be bringing back Butch Davis. I agree. Or a Shiano. I think a Shiano would be very Miami.
Dude, Shiano's one of those names, bro. Like he strikes some anger in some of our fans. Like I bring him up, bro, and they don't like Shiano at all, dude. And then some fans think he's fantastic.
Here's the thing, Ross. Like I lived 3 years with Manny Diaz. Like Shiano already has an outstanding resume compared to Manny Diaz, former NFL head coach, college football coach, turned Rutgers around. Like honestly, like I put up with Manny Diaz for 3 years. Like I'll be open to anything.
Yeah, anything. I have no problem with him. I have no problem bringing in a coach like that. I've been saying like the Bill O'Brien stuff. I want a militant coach. I want an asshole. I don't want buddy best friend shit. I want a guy who's going to make players toe the line and then be a good enough coach where he can go after 2 or 3 years and go to recruits and say, look what I just did. I just put that guy in the NFL. I just put that guy in the NFL. I got this guy set up to be a 2nd, 3rd round draft pick for the next season. That kind of stuff, dude. Get that ball moving so the recruiting game can really pick up.
So last discussion of the night, Ross, there's going to be a former players meeting. I believe it's Thursday. Could be wrong I know it's this week, I guess, according to Andy Slater. Bringing the scoop. I mean, what do you think about it, former players? I think it's going to be like re-uploaded.
I mean, if it's guys with, I mean, if it's guys with any pull or guys that can really influence stuff, okay, I have no problem with guys meeting together to try to make something better happen at the University of Miami. I'm just not sure if these guys are the type of guys that can do it or not yet. And time will tell us, though. Let's hope that they can.
I think what their motive is now that like Blake James was fired, because like before the news came out, I didn't understand what the motive was. Like you're doing a meeting, just players, And it's not going to be about firing the AD or the head coach, according to Manny Navarro. And then you're going to re-record it and have
Yeah.
it uploaded so people can watch. So I didn't get what the motive was. Now that Blake James is fired, it's like, okay, like I think this could be a pitch for the guy they want to
Yeah.
oversee the football program,
Yeah.
whether it's Alonzo Highsmith, a Rob Shasinski, a Gino Toretta, whoever it is, to oversee the football program. I think they're going to kind of push it publicly as their endorsement. And they're not going to bash Manny Diaz. They're going to be politically correct.
Oh
That's
yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen in the meeting, obviously, but that's what it was publicly stated by Manny Navarro. I think this is going to be an endorsement, a public push for the guy who they want as athletic director. I could be wrong. They could be talking about checkers or the World Cup coming up in 2022. Imagine just completely ignoring Miami football.
Bro, I go back to the same terminology I've used already. It's being on the same page. If guys like that are going to be in a room, they need to all get on the same page. If they're planning on influencing anything or planning on making good changes, they gotta do that. And it's just the way it works. Or if they don't, then the meeting's pointless, Paul.
Oh, I can't say that. I can't say what Mr. HD said. I'm not going to say it.
I gotta see what he says.
I'm not going to say. If they do, more power to them. More power to them. But yeah, I think agree. I think Alonzo Highsmith will be a part of the discussion, or just someone who they endorse, whoever it is. So that's what I think. Like I said, we'll see what happens when it's re-uploaded. We have over 190 people. If you guys can hit the like button, subscribe, greatly appreciate it. Thank you again for taking time out of your day to watch us. Hey, Blake James has been fired. It's a new day at the University of Miami. I am expecting, this is just my opinion, I don't think Manny Diaz will be a part of the program anymore. I think Ross is on the same page, and it's going to be very interesting this offseason. And I do think there is a new bridge at Miami for a specific coach that used to play for the University of Miami by the name of Mario Cristobal. I just think the firing of Blake James, there will be a discussion about that.
We have our chance, guys. We have our chance, the chance that we've been waiting for. So let's not mess it up. Let's not look back at it and go, damn, we should have did this. We should have done something else. Let's not go and pay Temple $4 million to buy out their second choice for head coach to be our coach. Let's not do any of that dumb shit, pretty much. Let's do a national coaching search.
Yep.
Take the time, do the due diligence, and find the right guys. And that will come down to an AD planning himself at Miami and really, really forming the identity and the philosophies they want going forward at Miami. And I can't wait to see what happens, Paul. I'm excited, honestly. I'm a little excited about this.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's a new day at the University of Miami. It's another coaching cycle that we're going to be going through. And, hey, hopefully we get it right this time. Like Ross says, Taj strong. Keep Taj's family in your prayers. Keep Taj in your prayers, and keep fighting, man. We believe in you, Taj. All right, guys. Have a good night. Go Canes.